So we wanted everybody to be part of this meeting, but at the same time, there were some things that came up in the interim that made it impossible for a couple of people. So I am going to record in that way. We have this for your team members who might need some clarification. So I promised, first of all, just to remind everybody, since it's the long time since we last saw each other, I'm Lindy Amato. I'm Director of Professional Affairs at the Ontario Teachers Federation. And I am here working with my two fantastic colleagues, Brenda Sherry and Peter Skillen, who I know many of you know and who have been interacting with your project. So welcome to those two colleagues, but welcome really to everybody. And I thought we would start with a very, very serious poll. There are going to be 4 questions. It's like a test, a pop test. Oh, Daniel, I can see exactly what kind of a student you were. Daniel's like, I'm ready. Give me the pop quiz. So 4 very serious questions, and here they come. I hope you're ready for them. And you can go ahead and answer the 4 questions. They're all yes, no questions. Are you seeing them?
Yeah, I'm seeing, I'm not going to play, but I'm seeing.
Oh yeah, and I know the first one ends, it says you received it from, it says Amazon, but for some reason, it decided that it would cut me off. So I don't know why. I tried to fix it, but it wouldn't let me. So question 1, you received both a book and some hot chocolate goodies in the same package from Amazon. Question 2, the hot chocolate goodies looked so delicious, you decided to consume them before the meeting. Question 3, we were talking earlier and one of the participants said she gave it to her daughter. So I didn't leave that as an option, but if it's no longer available, that means it was consumed before the meeting. Number 3, your OTF Coding Connections project has gone through more changes than you ever thought possible. Number 4, you're eager to share what you've learned, both triumphs and challenges through this project with others. So I've got 17 people have responded, 18 I'm going to leave you, as my colleague Ian Pettigrew says, you've got, the window is closing, you've got this much time. Oh, Daniel has a question. Go ahead, Daniel, before I end the poll.
No, I just needed to see the 4th question, and I think the border guards have confiscated the hot chocolate goodies. I found the book, but I did not
get the hot chocolate goodies.
I have no doubt that they were sent. I just think whoever opened the mail.
Oh,
yeah. No, it is. The reason I'm asking the question is because we realize that in some cases they sent it separately, which sometimes happens on Amazon. So, okay, I've got most people have responded. I'm going to end the poll and let's publish our results so that you can see them. Okay, so 59% of the people actually received it in the same package, which is not huge and not a great statement for Amazon, but there you go. That's what that will teach us a lesson for sending 2 very different kinds of things via Amazon. You should have received a fantastic book, and you should have received a combination of either like hot chocolate and marshmallows or some chocolate or something that is consumable, not that kind of consumable. You know what I mean?
You're getting recorded. Behave.
Quite a few of them did not open up your hot chocolate goodies before the meeting. So that means that maybe you have it available to consume while we meet today, which is...
you gotta read Erin's chat message, Lindy. She said,
what did she say?
Funny, our team packages came separately, so we all thought the hot chocolate was spam and then questioned it when our books came a few days later.
Well, I hope you didn't throw it away, your spam.
Sadly, I think we did, because we weren't really sure where it came from, and we reported them to Amazon because we had no idea. So maybe in future, letting us know at least who the package is coming from would be a good plan.
Well, that's weird that it didn't actually show. I did say in one of the emails, but it's so easy to get, like, you should be receiving a package with goodies, you know, so who knows. Next time we'll be more careful. So I hope others did not throw them away.
Yeah, but there were some mysteries. So now it's solved. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah, that is it. Well, everybody got something a little bit different because basically as we were ordering, they were running out of this or that or the other. So we just did our very best to get you as close as possible.
Where's the
I saw it in a pantry and I thought, who brought that in? Where did that come from?
It came from us.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, everybody thinks that their Coding Connections project went through more changes. That's 100% there. And you're eager to share what you've learned, both triumph and challenges through this project with others, almost everybody, not quite, but almost everybody.
Okay.
So there you go. Well done. And yeah, I'm hoping that we had the beginning of the hot chocolate idea. I will just let you know, began as we wanted to get you to make s'mores as we were online. But we realized we could not get, under lockdown here in Toronto, we could not get the component pieces. So we had to go to the next best thing. And that was, you know, adding onto the Amazon order whatever we could get through them. And not an easy feat, I can tell you. We spent quite a bit of time sending those out, but hopefully you all have the fantastic book. And at least some of you have the hot chocolate goodies just to warm you up and to let you know that we adore all of you and think about you. And we know that this has been a really difficult journey given COVID, but that most of you have done really incredible work. And those who are still battling to get there, we are just saluting you. It's not an easy time. So thanks to everybody for that. And so I don't know if I really need to share the agenda, but I'm going to share it with you for 3 seconds. Here it is, and we're going to try and make sure that we cover everything you really need to know between now and the project end, and also answer some questions that you have at the end. We have put approximate timings of how fast we think we'll get through this, but we're not bound to that. And so if we get through it quickly, all good as well. Does anybody have any comments or anything they want us to add to the agenda before I move on? Okay, and I'm assuming that all of you have your agendas, so I'm going to stop sharing so that we can actually see each other, and we will just move through it. And also that helps me to be able to see the my chat box much better. Okay, oh, and here is somebody else joining us. There you go. Okay, so all good. Enjoy the hot chocolate if you can, and if not, enjoy the books, which we will be talking about a little bit further on when we talk about our wrap-up summit, our sharing summit.
Yeah, the book is by Gary and Sylvia.
Yeah, the book is by Gary and Sylvia, and we will talk about what happens with them next. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about your final reporting. The maybe less good news is the fact that the final reports are due March 15th, and that is a hard and fast date. As you know, this project is funded by federal funding, and we have tried to see whether there's any possibility of getting the funds extended, or if the project could go longer, but it really is not possible. The federal government is really strict about that. So we get the funding from the federal government through Taking It Global, and Taking It Global has not been able to persuade the government to extend that timeline. But I happen to know from other projects that we were involved in that nobody has really managed to persuade the federal government to change the timelines in spite of COVID. So we're really stuck with that, and I can't impress enough on you that you must have your final report to us by March 15th. We'll talk a little bit more about the final reports. I wanted to say to you that we have streamlined the final reports considerably. You may recall that we had originally had an individual sheet that we wanted each member of your team to fill out. We have done away with that. We're not going to expect you to do the individual reporting. What that means is that the responsibility really lies with the team lead to make sure that there are 3 things that you still have to do. And somebody's joining us by phone, and I'm not sure who it is.
I'll just ask them in the chat to rename themselves.
He's on the phone, so it might be hard.
They might not be able to, but if they can tell us who they are. Who's just joined with the 807 number?
Hello,
Hi, who is it?
it's Ruth Mackey.
Thanks, Ruth. We're just going to rename you, and I will put you on mute for now. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Brenda, I'm leaving that up to you to rename while I explain the final reporting.
Will do.
So definitely what we have done is we've done away with the individual feedback, but you will be asked to do an exit survey, and we will send you a link to the exit survey. We don't have that ready for you today, but you will receive it, and it will be very important that you fill that out, okay? The other aspects of the final report, one sits on the OTF Coding Connections site, which Brenda and Peter are going to do a quick tour for you so that you can see that. And again, we have streamlined the questions. They're very simple questions that you need to provide answers to. And then there's the final financial report, which I will take you through. So that's basically what is required of you. As I say, we've tried to make this as simple and simplified as we can. So without further ado, Peter, I don't know if you want to say anything quickly about the exit survey.
Yeah, I can show it very quickly, just so people know what it is, know what it looks like. I'll just share my screen. Yeah, these questions, naturally, because it's federal funding, we need to have, we need to use their data collection questions. And so some of the questions are, you know, unusual, but whatever. It's the way it is. So basically it looks like this, just educator name, email address, gender identity, project. I'll be popping in here the OTF Coding Connections option. Just the start date of the projects, you know, generally speaking, back, whatever, I don't know. What date was it? Whatever.
We can,
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, we'll have to look it up because I don't remember when we actually started.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't really matter that much because I'll be putting all this data in anyway. So just pick a date back yonder. And then the language, and then partner lead, you don't worry about that. School district, address, you know, all that kind of stuff. Census division we'll put in, you don't have to worry about that. Then this, I might have to modify some of this somehow for you, but basically we have to gather sort of the idea of the number of hours you put into it for professional learning. And then the questions that they ask are really these questions. I mean, that's their wording. So it's simply yes or no or kind of thing. And then we've just put in a couple of questions that you may or may not answer. All the others are, as you can see, required. So we'll take a good look at this and just make sure that it ties directly to this project more efficiently than it appears to right now, or put in you know, a bit of information such as, you know, little comments to help you out along the way with things. But that's the basis of it. Then that just goes into my spreadsheet, and then we pass it on to the government in our reports.
Super. Please do not be confused. That is an exit survey, which is not the same as what you have to do on our shared website. And there's still a financial report. But we're hoping that it'll be very quick for you guys to do. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Brenda. Brenda, are you going to do the website, or is Peter going to show it?
Peter's got it up there, so he's going to drive. I can.
Okay, you drive, Peter.
I'll be the Vanna.
Yeah, so like Lindy said, we thought, okay, you know, this has been the year of all years for all of you, and we just feel so grateful that you're here with us, still learning and still doing as much as you can to iterate your projects, to pivot, whatever word you want to use, to manage all this crazy change. And
Brenda, sorry, before you go on, Bonnie has asked a really important question about the exit survey. She's asking if it's for all team members, or can it just be the team lead?
It would be for each team member.
Okay.
Good question.
So you will remember at one of our, and I looked it up, I think May 9th is our start date when we had our launch. It was a Saturday. So when we first started, we had this Google site set up, and remember we were putting an empty doc in there for you. Several teams did go ahead and complete that document, but what we did when we met with Lindy last is thought, okay, how can we make this as easy as possible for Peter, or for people? So, and for Peter. And so we've combined kind of that financial reporting on your project and that other document that was there. So you just have to do the one thing. So if you are already in here and you've completed that piece, then you would just, then I think you're done, right, Lindy? I think that's what we said for those folks. We didn't expect them to go back and do a redo. I just want to clarify that.
Sorry, I'm on mute. No, everybody, if you've done it already, you've done it. So you don't have to go back and redo it. Most people have not yet done the final report.
Right. So I think it's about 3 teams that have, right?
Yeah,
so so we've now updated it with Lindy's questions and our questions that we first had in here, and we've just tweaked it so that you have a one-stop shop to enter your project details as your final reporting, separate from financial. But this is more your learning, what you did, what you learned, how that might have impacted students this year. It may not have, and that's okay. Remember, this is a project about your learning. Any links or documents that you want to upload, you can link there. And we would love some type of image that sort of best relates to your project. This could be a graphic that is part of your work, or you know, something else. And that's, we just continue to keep that piece there. So just the basic information, it's very much, if you look at very much modeled over after your application rather. So it won't be any surprises at all here. Right. Any questions about that? Everyone should have that update in their space. I'll put the link in the chat again, I guess would be a good idea for the site itself. And then any questions? Now's the time to ask.
So it does pop out to a doc. So it's kind of obvious that, you know, these fields expand.
Right. Right. As much as you like.
This is not to be confused with the interim report, right? The interim report was not done this way. Okay.
Right. This is final reporting.
This is final reporting. And honestly, we've made it as simple as we can. We want to know what you did, what you learned, how you shared with others, and any links and any next steps you're thinking of.
Any questions about that?
But I'm going to say again, it has to be done by March 15th. And honestly and truly, I don't think you want us hounding you for it. And I don't think you have the time to have me hounding you. And I certainly don't have the time to hound you. So please, please, please make sure that you submit by March 15th. And Brenda, you'll put the link to this on the in the chat here.
I'll do that right now. Yes.
We have a bit.ly for that. We must, right?
Yeah.
So let me look at my bit.lys and just find it, because that makes more sense.
Maybe you could stop sharing, Peter, and then when you find it, you could provide that to everyone.
Pop it in the chat.
I just wanted to watch my workflow.
Yeah. Are there any questions about the expectation that that is your final report and that it must be done by March 15th? Is there anybody who thinks that that's going to be impossible for you to do?
Oh, I was going to ask, I didn't see how the Google document within the website exploded onto its own to complete it. And so as we complete it, is it a live view for anybody else who goes to that website and sees our Google documents embedded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just show you how it pops out just while we're at it here. I think we've got it there. So right up here, you'll see on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little arrow, the pop-out arrow, and off it goes.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. And so it's a good idea, actually, one of the reasons we did this publicly was, you know, for the obvious reasons that we kind of believe in openness and shared learning and
Transparency.
realizing that it kicks everybody up a notch, gives people's ideas, it gets the brain, you know, working, all the stuff that we know about PBL and that kind of thing. Let me see if I can find this link. If I can't find one, I'll just make one.
I also want to say again, I know we've said it many times, but it's really hard for teachers to understand that we're interested in your learning. You know, what your kids did is great, but our assumption is that if you learned something, that's going to be passed on to your students. So yeah, you can write in the stuff, the incredible stuff that your students did, but we're really just interested in hearing what you felt you learned. And even if what you learned was, you know, how to pivot 1,000 times or to reframe a project's goals, or, you know, those kinds of things are really of interest to us as well.
So I've just popped that bit.ly into the chat. It is bit.ly, OTF Coding Connections, all lowercase.
Awesome.
All right, that is, we hope that's really nice and simple for you, and that's about it for the website itself.
Okay, that's it for the website. So that means that we can already, way ahead of schedule, move forward to the final financial report. And I'm just going to pause and make sure that there are no other questions about the expectation for the website reporting that we just showed you. So the final financial report is kind of much more low tech, and partially we're having to use the low tech form because we had already asked you to begin your interim report on the same form. So you will recall that you received a form that the first page looked like this, and you were expected to fill it out for your interim report. And now you're expected to do page 2, which is the final report. So the first question is, if you already filled in the interim report, you don't have to repeat those expenses here, but you do have to make sure that we did receive all of the invoices for release time. Everything that you reported on your interim report we have to have the actual, you know, the receipts and the invoices for anything that you purchased, etc. And here on the final report, this red page, you have to just add in what is new. And while it says grand total, which you might think is the grand total for, you know, your interim report had a grand total and this one has a grand total, I would ask you, when you've finished totaling up what you've done since your interim report, underneath here, in this space underneath, if you could just put a grand total, which would just be your total expenditures, so that we can track that properly. So a couple of things about this. We must have invoices for release time. School boards are notoriously bad about invoicing. You have to call up your HR department and tell them they must give you something that just shows that you were absent or that you needed to repay the board that money. Usually, if you just impress on them that our fiscal year end is coming up, they know this also from the Ministry of Education, then they know that they have to give it to you. So please do what you can to get those. Again, all receipts for anything that you purchased must be provided. If you are going to be buying something or doing some learning that is happening after March 15th, you can still include the invoice for that, and we'll assume that it is paid, and we will count that as done. Okay, so no worries about if it's something that's happening on March 24th or something that's happening on April 2nd. So long as you've already ordered it and paid for it, we're good to go. And there was one last thing that I wanted to tell you about the financial reporting. The obvious question is, what happens if you are either overexpended or underexpended? So if you are underexpended, in other words, OTF has flowed a certain amount of money to you and you've got money not spent, that money will have to come back to OTF, and you will need to indicate that here on the form. So you'll just need to put a little note on it that says, you know, total spent was, let's say you have the 3,000 that we sent to you and you've spent 2,500. Total spent was 2,500. Amount to come back to OTF is $500. And that will be e-transferred to OTF in the same way as we've been e-transferring you. You will e-transfer to OTF. Okay? If, on the other hand, you're overexpended, I'm hoping you're not too far from the 5,000 total that you were supposed to spend. If you think you're going to go over, it would be really good if you would email me ahead of time, just so that I'm prepared and so that I know how much over you are. We would not expect you to dig into your pockets, because there are some projects that are underexpended. We allow for the fact that some might be slightly over. Daniel knows what I mean by slightly over. And if you could just let me know, then we will make sure that we can cover that off so that you're not out of pocket. Are there any questions about any of that? I know that it's not always an obvious thing, because financial reporting is hard, especially if you're not in control of the invoices or the expenses that have mounted up. But we do need to get those invoices from you, or receipts. I see that somebody has put something in the chat. Let me see if there's anything that I missed. Can I provide the e-transfer info right now? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it right here. It is this. It's accounting@otffeo.on.ca. So I'm just putting it into the chat. And really what we will do is, as we come closer to the March 15th deadline, I will send this information to you again. We will send the bit.ly again of the where you do your narrative report at the site. And then I'll also send you the accounting information again for your financials. And please, if you have questions, don't hesitate. Just reach out to us. That's what we're there for. We want to help you. Much better for us to know that something's come up and that there's an issue ahead of time than to be trying to chase it down, because this report has to come from OTF. Once you've reported to me, I have to report to the funder. Are we allowed to purchase memberships to AME without funding? I'm going to say yes. We're being very flexible on everything that we can be flexible on. We can't be flexible on hardware. So any actual hardware we can't be flexible on, but software we can be.
Yep. Sign up for BIT. We'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, the BIT conference, that would be an eligible expense. Any learning like this that you'd like for yourself, go for it.
Yeah.
Steo, yep.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We would love to see you using that funding.
There's
Yeah.
a Bring It Together conference that Peter has just put in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. And a membership to BIT, right? Because their membership is only $25. So as you know, we've emailed you before that that's an eligible expense that you could do and join up and connect with other educators for the year around. They're going to do lots of learning webinars and the virtual conference. So.
And their conference is this week, actually. I believe it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'd have to check. But what you need to know is that there are several prizes as well for people who fill out an exit survey at that conference. They will go in a draw for, okay, what did we say, Brenda? A Chromebook, a Windows laptop, Arduino kit, starter kit, and a Hummingbird Bit Premium kit. So
Which
there's
are
some,
awesome.
Good wins if you go and attend something and fill out the exit survey. So
not that we're all about the prizes, but just that we're able to support that way. So
no, that's right. That's right. Because honestly, we can't release people from their duties, which is what we've normally done through CanCode funding. ISTE Live, yes.
When is ISTE? I was wondering about that too.
yeah, we just had the annual conference, but live is when?
That was it.
That was it? It's happened already.
21.
No,
21.
No, ISTE Live 20 just happened in December.
Uh-huh.
We have an ISTE Live in June. I'm presenting, so I know. With Mafusa, who's like a total rock star. Yeah, so I was just wondering, because I just paid it and woof, US dollars kill you.
I would say if you can pay it ahead of time, I'm saying yes to it. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
And I think for that one, it's even fun just seeing their virtual platform. Like I did poster sessions for Taking It Global, and it was just amazing how how they worked that, and then the different workshops and the keynotes. It was pretty robust, It is ISTE after all, so they have the bucks. But
so yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that would go for any other upcoming conference that is educational related to this stuff and available to register for, I guess.
Do you want to share the other one now?
Which one?
The one, the projects?
Yes, I could do that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it just seems to fit right now if we're on this topic.
Okay, let me do that. Okay, it's not something you have to pay for. It's something that you will get paid for. So this has not been announced yet, not released. In fact, it hasn't even been totally approved by all of us yet. And so, but the idea is that because we cannot release educators and pay for substitutes and all that stuff, people are being asked to do stuff in their own time. So we are giving an honorarium to educators across Canada to learn links. Okay, links. Simple, right there. Only there's going to be an introductory links course, and there'll be an intermediate/advanced links course. And so the idea is that you would participate in two 90-minute webinars, then complete a 7.5-hour approximate course. That's a self-serve course. It'll be online for a total of 10.5 hours. Yeah, so the synchronous first webinar, then online lessons online, and then a culminating webinar. And then you get the basics, blah, blah, blah. Learn to integrate links coding, computational thinking across your curriculum. Receive a $500 honorarium upon completion of the expectations, blah, blah. Okay, that's the explanation. These are the present dates. They go beyond the dates that we're talking about for final thing, but it's, just an additional extra thing, sort of separate from the project. Expectations that you attend both webinars, complete every lesson, share your learning in the online community, and complete the exit survey, and there'll be a registration. This one is intermediate, so it's same length of time and same structure, but the online lessons are, obviously a higher level. There's some expectation that you already know how to, use turtle geometry in the basic ways. So 500 if you do that. As a bonus, as a bonus, sorry folks, as a bonus, if you create and write up a 1 to 2 page project lesson plan kind of thing, there's another $250 for it. Yeah, so basically that's what that is. So that's an opportunity, and we have your email addresses, so we'll make sure you all get this once we get it nailed down. Any questions about that? Project opportunities, Daniel, we don't know if CanCode it will be extended. The CanCode team would like it extended, but they'd like it extended for obvious reasons. Keeps them working and their jobs for CanCode at the federal level, but also because they believe in it, and it's been pretty successful across Canada, particularly with underserved communities and Northern and Indigenous communities. We've been very successful with that ourselves, with a lot of the work we've done translating links into Indigenous languages and so forth, and want to continue that. Yeah, so we won't know anything. This will end March 31. Our report goes in by May 30. They usually, last time, they started doing a call for proposals around I think due May 30. And then it was, August, September before we actually knew that we were ready to fly. So we have our fingers crossed.
Can I just add one more thing? And it's sort of related to some of the conference conversation we were having, and Zelia, maybe you can help me out with this one. But even if you are saying that right now you may be too busy to attend a conference. I think they're streaming the content for 6 months. Is that right? I think I remember that happening in December. Does that make sense to you?
It's available, the recordings.
Yeah, everything would
Or-
be available.
And that seems to be the trend for many of the virtual conferences that are happening right now.
Yeah, so don't feel like you don't have the face time to sit down in front of your screen right now. If it's a learning experience you'd like, you will probably have access for a while. So it might be a good investment. Like I have a lot of those ISTE sessions to look at and I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I know they're there.
Okay, Daniel. Okay, so let me just.
Right, a good question about a sign up for newsletters. Okay, Peter's got a link for you, right?
I don't remember how I came aware of this present opportunity that we're in. So I did not want to miss another opportunity moving forward.
So, this is where we post stuff. And so there's a sign up right here. This is related specifically to links learning for the most part. And so that puts you on a mailing list and that gets you all stuff related to learning links. For other CAN Code to Learn info, you are best to follow CAN Code to Learn on Twitter, because as you may be aware, I mean, maybe we should just take a minute and share that project too, right? Really, we have time, right?
So long as people are not getting confused, I'm happy.
Well, I'm sure there's lots to confuse because there's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this project, honestly, I mean, what group gets to actually team up with Pharrell and do this kind of project? This is aimed at grade 6 and up, but Taking It Global has made an agreement with the American side of this, which is why we now have it in French as well as English. And basically, this project takes his song, Entrepreneur, and works with kids related to social justice by remixing his song, Entrepreneur, using Georgia Tech's EarSketch platform, which is Python based. It's got, different rounds. So obviously, we're finishing this one, but this one's, coming up March 1st, March 15th and so forth. And, kids, will win $5,000. Teachers will win $1,000. And also, I believe there's the winners also get airtime with Pharrell as a chat, be able to chat with Pharrell on Zoom kind of thing. There's a very solid, deep, and well-organized curriculum with the various modules, learning experiences. I won't go into those now. But there's our partners, and there we are, Taking It Global. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool project.
So follow CAN Code to Learn. That's where you'll see lots of the CAN Code stuff. Michael Furdick and Jennifer Corriero of Taking It Global, who started Taking It Global, are movers and groovers. They're young people who we've known since they were 19 years old. They're now like 39 years old, but they have a mission in life to empower young people and to empower those who are less fortunate, and to do that through an educational lens. So, yeah.
Cool. Chelly's already got some students working on it, and some others. Robert is passing it along. Great.
I'll put that in the chat right there as well, in case it didn't already go in there, because that one's not. Yeah, this is the problem, right? You get so many branches of this, it's kind of hard to follow everything that's going on. It's hard for us, and we work in it. Yeah, so that's a few things that are coming up.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add, of course, you can sign up to the OTF PD feed, if you've not already done that. So on the main OTF page, there is an OTF PD feed. So anytime these kinds of projects become available, that would be broadcast that way. It's very hard to be aware of everything at the same time, because as Peter said, there is so much that's happening, right?
Yeah.
But I think these are some really awesome projects that are happening, and I'm really happy we've had a chance to sort of let you know about them.
And thanks, Shelley and Robert, for sharing that. I'm glad that they're doing that. That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to OTF Coding Connections, which is, you know, this is all about creating communities of learners. As teachers, it's so awesome that we can find each other and find out about other things that are happening. And that's a lot, a big part of the learning, really. So happy that we've had a chance to talk about that as well. So since we're all about sharing learning, and since we're all about figuring out where we've been and what we've done and what we learned, you will recall that right from the outset of this project, we had hoped that we would be able to do a kind of a celebrating our learning summit. And of course, we had hoped that we could do that face to face. Things being what they are, we have come to the realization that even if we could delay that into April, May, June, excuse me, there's no way that we can really look at the possibility of a face-to-face event, which is, believe me, disappointing for us. However, we are quickly figuring out what an online event would look like. We are proposing to you that this sharing the learning celebration would take place on March 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. And we envision it as really a celebration. And as part of that celebration, Peter and Brenda have done a fantastic job of inviting the 2 writers of the books that we sent out to you to be our keynote speakers. And we will not be a very big group. As you can see, we're not huge numbers. We will have an opportunity to interact with those 2 awesome, knowledgeable, incredible people, very much in a small group. So that is the one thing that will happen during the Celebrating Our Learning. Peter and Brenda, did you want to talk a little bit more about Gary and Sylvia?
Well, we are just really excited that they could come and speak to everybody. And the book is great. You know, I think you'll really enjoy the book if you haven't already had it, seen it before. It's the 2nd edition. And I would say, I mean, Peter goes way back with both of them, further than I do. But in terms of, you know, understanding the constructionist pedagogy, being there when Seymour Papert was working with classes with versions of Logo, knowing links like Gary does. And, you know, that's just going to be really exciting. And having that chance to ask them questions and really customize what they're going to do for us just makes my heart happy. You know, Sylvia's background in science just brings that STEM piece to light, and Gary's background in project-based learning. He's doing some really exciting things in schools right now that he can share with us. So, you know, I don't know. They've been at this for a long time, and we just thought of them as leaders in the field, right, Peter? What else would we say? And
Well, I mean,
also the people who will challenge some notions.
oh,
Many
yeah.
of you know Gary, and many of you might. You know, tells it like it is, right? So that we need to hear that side of things too.
Yeah, Gary and Sylvia, that book that you received, Invent to Learn, the 1st edition of it and that one are really the you know, maybe it's not appropriate to say it's the Bible of, but it's the you know, the go-to book for makers, for making. And when they talk about making, they don't just talk about making stuff with various physical gadgets. They talk about making up your own mind, that real notion of constructivism. So they have a breadth of things, not just links. It's, you know, various, like you name a technology that kids will work with, and they know it inside out. Gary did his doctorate with Seymour under Seymour's guidance. And Gary worked in prisons with youth. So really underserved kind of scenario, to take them into a project-based learning lifestyle, if you like, within making and programming with various versions of Logo before Links came on the scene. Yeah, they're quite brilliant. Gary is a challenging individual, for sure. Challenging in that he challenges, and challenging in that he's challenging to to work with at times. And I'll just be straight out, he knows that. I mean, we talk about it all the time because we're old friends, but he will not, he won't take it. He'll say it, and you can push back on him. I love that.
Yeah.
And
what a fantastic treat for us to be able to interact with them. I'm so excited about that. And so I'm really encouraging all of you to put that into your daytimers right away, or calendars, whatever you're using these days. And just make sure that you have that 2 hours clear for us, so that we can enjoy an interaction with them. Hold on to your books. If you have any time to read parts of them between now and then, you can even push them to explain some more about what's in the books. So that would be, I think it's going to be really exciting just to interact with them. A little brush with greatness, maybe. So that's one part of what we do, and then we will do. And then the other part of what we would like to do is we're going to invite your team to think about whether you want to just take 10 minutes to do a presentation to share what you learned. So I know people are super busy. We're not going to force you, but I said 10 minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, just to explain what you set out to do and what you actually did. A little presentation that others could learn something from. So for that, I will encourage you to email me just to let me know if you are interested in doing a little session as part of our meeting. It's not a high stressful thing, just taking a few minutes to explain what you did and what you learned.
And then
anyway, by then you will already have done your reporting. So you can use what you put into your reporting to frame what it is you would share with others. And I think what we'll do, because we won't have time for every project to share, so we probably will take the first 5 or 6 that email me. Oh, now I just made it as a contest. There you go. Suddenly it went from, oh, drag, I have something else I have to do, to who's going to be the first 5 or 6 teams who are going to sign up to share their learning that we can just use as an example of the kind of interactions that we've had. Any questions? You guys are so
and if you're not wanting to share, like, totally okay, still please come as learners. It's not totally not an expectation. This year has just been crazy.
Yeah. Everybody's very quiet, so I just want to make sure that everybody's still awake and still with us. And honestly, if you have some questions, this would be the moment. Hey, Daniel.
I was just texting Karen Fleming, my partner, because I didn't see her in the screens. She's having technical difficulties joining. So I noticed that this is recording. When can we expect the recording to go out? Because there's a wealth, and the chat transcript also would be good. All those websites and links that you've shared. When can we expect that to be sent to us?
So for the chat, it's harder for me to save that in a format that will come to you. I'll try and save it and then send it to you in an email. But for the recording, we can put it onto the OTF website. It will take a couple of days. I'll send you an email and I'll let you know. So maybe what I'll do is, I think it will save the texts for me. Sometimes people are not that comfortable with having the actual texts of all the questions that they've put in, but maybe what we can do is just create a little file of the links, and then we can send that out to you by email, as well as the link to the video recording of this.
Thank you very much.
But it will take a couple of days because I just need to get some technical help with it through the office. It doesn't take very long.
So that should be fun. It should be a fun celebration.
It sure will.
I'm sitting here giggling because the number of times I've worked with Gary and had to corral him have been numerous. This is too much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know.
And I guess if a lot of people, I mean, we have options with breakouts and Zoom and stuff if we have a lot of interest, right, Lindy, in presenting.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah, if we get many people who want to share, you just destroyed the idea that it was a contest and that people would be rushing to give me their names, Brenda. But yes, it's true. We can, of course, create breakouts and have more than 5 or 6 projects we'd like to present. If you all want to present, that would be awesome.
What will be the format of the meeting with Gary and Sylvia for those 2 hours?
Yeah, it will be a Zoom meeting. We're pretty much.
And they won't be handling the whole 2 hours. I forget how long we've said for them, a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Brenda,
Yes,
was it 45?
yes, that's what we said.
And so basically, they're going to just do their thing. They know the context. We've explained to them what the situation is and what OTF Coding Connections is all about, who you folks are, and that kind of thing. And obviously Brenda and I will be there. So if we see that we need to, bring them somewhere where better understanding would be more useful for you, we'll direct them. We're quite comfortable in interacting with them that way. Some of you may know that we've done interview style stuff with them before, where we moderated their chats with them. And you folks are absolutely willing, or able, I should say, able to interrupt and chat with them. Maybe brushes with greatness, but they're just great people. So they're people.
Yeah, I was wondering, Daniel, did you have thoughts there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 hours seemed like a long time, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be a lecture style or I wasn't sure what to expect.
Okay.
I remember Gary from the old Echo days.
Yeah.
They'll probably sort of present to us for the first half hour, and then we have time for questions and interactions. And but no, we weren't planning to spend the entire 2 hours with them. We did want to have you folks share your learning a little bit as well. So that's how we are anticipating spending that time. And just to bring us some closure, we've all been working in a very isolated way. And so we really want to welcome you to share your experiences and your thinking and what you have taken away from the experience. Sometimes when we hear each other presenting, we understand that we have been part of something bigger than our own individual projects. And maybe we're not even aware of the fantastic bits and pieces that have been taking place in the background. Some of that sharing is also about the challenges that made it difficult, and what we did, how did we pivot, how did we change things up, because we wanted to go in this direction, but that wasn't possible, so we went in this other direction.
My memory's failing me. Did we have opportunities to share in the previous meetings? Or was it that we needed to go to the website and see what people were putting into their reports? Because what I saw on the website when I checked maybe a few weeks ago when I spoke to you folks, I wasn't aware that that was the final report. I thought those were interim reports.
Yeah. We've made it into the final report to just take some of the stress off.
Okay.
But there's not a lot on the website right now, and we haven't had much opportunity other than in question and answers online for people to share what they're doing. So whereas Brenda and Peter and I are very aware of your projects because you've been asking us questions and we've been interacting with you, you yourselves are not that aware of each other's projects. Celia has a question. Go ahead, Celia.
Sorry about that. I was trying to raise my hand and I turned on the video. My son was not impressed with me.
That was okay. I was so happy that you turned on the video. I'd love to see everybody for a moment. It just makes me know that you're there. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
this is like for high school.
Yeah. So I'm actually just really curious on how everyone did pivot, how people did adjust and make things work virtually. I'm turning it on again, Sandra. And how they did make it work virtually. Because I know for like Sebastian and I, that was just a constant, okay, we've got to figure it out. No, we don't. And now we're going to go this way. And no, we're not. And oh, look at that, school closures. And oh, now we're back. And who knows how long that's going to last. So that constant. So I'm really curious on how others were able to, I'm not worried about people like staying on plan, but how they found ways to make it work as best they can within that. Because I worry that maybe there was an opportunity we missed because we didn't consider it. Or even if it was like, like, I don't know, just I feel like we might have missed stuff, but we didn't know because there's so many things happening and so many variables, especially for teachers in brick and mortar buildings with the constant masks and the antibacterial. Now you got to get out of here so the caretaking can clean. And I feel things get lost in that mix. So that's what I'm looking forward to hearing most from others.
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying it doesn't have to be all the things that went great, like exactly what you just described is really important. A lot of times people had planned projects which had built-in release time, and then they couldn't get the release time. So that was a major challenge, and people had to rethink how they were going to spend their grant and even how they were going to spend their time. So go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say, on purpose, we debated, remember at the beginning, as to whether we should have, a discussion forum and all that for us all. And we sort of decided against it because Brenda and I have had huge amounts of experience with online communities of practice. And what we've discovered is that it's very, it puts a lot of pressure on people to be there. Then they feel guilty because they're not there or whatever. It's very time consuming, especially if you use an appreciative inquiry approach where you're sort of asking people to unpack their thinking, and it sort of goes back and forth a lot. So that's why we settled on sort of having a more casual kind of, follow the OTF, follow the Twitter feed on OTF_CC on Twitter, or just email and chat and stuff. So we love the online community stuff in many respects, but we realize that it just doesn't work as well as one might think it does.
But Zelia's point is well taken, because there really haven't been a lot of projects that went forward, and especially in this provincial way, right? Even a lot of districts, there has been no PD or no, like our gathering to share, to spend a portion of your time, if you are willing to share, to add that piece of what you did would give us all those diverse ideas, right? I think that's a really good point.
I also think it's worth, when we talk about celebrating, I think we should really celebrate what we have managed to achieve, because this project is one of the very few that actually did continue on. And while many of you, battled through, and it must have felt at times like, man, we don't know what we're doing and we have to change our plans again. I actually think it's incredible what has been achieved, just because of the fact that we were able to continue on. And I can tell you straight, like, we started out with 24 projects, and we have 22 still ongoing. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And there were some who at times felt like they could not go on, and we sort of said, we're flexible, we'll help you, and people hung in there under very difficult circumstances. So I mean, I think listening to each other will be a really nice opportunity. So I really encourage you to think about what you can share when we come to the final summit, because we learn so much from each other. And under normal circumstances, we would have had a face-to-face meeting at the front end, and we would have been able to take that as a learning opportunity, and then at the end, face-to-face again. So we've missed out on that, but we really want to see what we can capture from each other's learning.
It has been a challenging year, if I can just interject. And I remember you can see what we've done so far. We're at Hastings Prince Edward. Karen Fleming is named there, and she moved from our school. So many things changed. We're in an octomester. I don't know how you guys are teaching school. That means it's one course all day, 5 days a week, 5 weeks, and you're done. So it really ties up your day, and you don't get to see kids for more than 23 days. Anyway, she mentioned that one of our colleagues in Center Hastings was doing something very innovative, and I reached out to her, and we had a meet, and then suddenly the eurekas happened, right? It was just because I was feeling so stuck. My partner had been transferred to another school. We were doing some things at our high school to her middle school, but then we felt stuck, right? And we felt our hands were tied with the timetables and all the restrictions that we had. I couldn't visit any other cohorts for risk of bursting bubbles and exposing myself to low risk, high risk, whatever, medium risk. It was a very challenging year, but I'm looking forward. I think the conversations would be very helpful because I needed that. That's how I learn, is having a conversation and with Ms. Donald, which is in the call right now, and just having a 30-minute Google Meet with her, and it just was so helpful.
Awesome. Any other comments before we let you go, or questions? Anything that's not clear? I feel like I want to say again that basically between now and the 15th of March, there are 3 things that you absolutely have to do for us. One is the narrative report that is on the website that Brenda and Peter have created. The other is the financial report. And the third is the exit survey that Peter introduced. I will gather up all of these links for you, and I will send them all to you so that you have them. And then if you can email me and just let me know if you want to present when we meet on March 25th, excuse me. Don't let me confuse you, March 25th. That would be awesome.
I just
Hi, Lindy. I don't know if you hear me.
I do.
Go ahead.
Jean-Pierre, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to real quick. First of all, I really, really want to thank you guys. The work that you do has been life-changing for a lot of the kids and a lot of the students. I know it sounds tacky to say it, life-changing, but we managed to help a lot of kids out of this pandemic blues, and a lot of the kids hung on to the coding that we're doing, and I found it a really, really enriching experience. And I just wanted to thank you, if I don't have the chance to tell you, to thank you for this program. We have how do you say it in English? Learned a lot from it. We've grown a lot from it, and that's it. I just wanted to have the opportunity to thank you guys.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much, because, just like you might have felt at times like you were struggling to get the projects done, we have felt as facilitators of your learning, we've also struggled a lot, looking for ways that we could better support you. And Brenda and Peter have been fantastic as the funders in this project to really provide the flexibility that they have for different things that people could do. So Jean-Pierre, I really appreciate a great deal that you made that comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too, because I started to speak, and I wanted to say thank you to all of you, because I know, like, Brenda and I are in dozens of classrooms per week, and everybody's in different circumstances, and what we see is both heartbreaking and beautiful, right? Because we see what's happening with those children. We hear from those kids right on the spot, and we just love Ontario teachers. So
That we do. Anything else before we let you go? I'm really not wanting to hold you any longer. I know you've all had a long day. If you have other questions, feel free to email us. And we will, of course, be in touch between now and the next few weeks, so that as we come towards the deadline.
thank you.
If you wanted to turn your camera on, I would take a picture of us. If anyone,
that would be nice.
I don't want to pressure anyone, but I really would
My
like
hair
a
okay?
little bit. There, Mel. There's Mel. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds. Now I know people in the car. It's a little different for you. Oh, there we go. We got
Photoshop.
Sebastian's in the car and he's on camera.
awesome.
Oh, who's leaving?
Oh, there we go. We're getting everybody. Oh, some kids leave. Okay, I'm gonna go with. Give you 3 more seconds. I'm gonna go with what we've got. Okay, thumbs up. Right on, Zelia. Okay. Nice. Thank you,
Awesome.
everybody.
Awesome.
Oh gosh.
Yes, thanks, Lindy, for all
All right,
the
you guys,
everybody.
be safe, be well, be
Nice.
healthy, and we're here for you. But over the next few weeks, if you need to connect with us, please do. We want to hear from you, and we're here to help you. Okay. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye
There's
bye.
Sally. Lindy.
Good to see you again, Daniel.
Yeah,
Celia.
good to see you.
Good to see you, Daniel, Karen.
Karen. Yep.
Celia, you
Well, dance extreme.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
Karen is there, but was on another page. I didn't see her until now.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
she came in.
That's good. That's good. It's been an eye-opening experience. And the lovely thing is we make the right choices financially, can just keep going. The learning, because it's inside of us, we can keep teaching
Right.
other teachers, we can teach other students, and it can just keep going for years.
Exactly.
Yeah.